I am a temple who walks the earth. My womb is fertile for giving birth. I am a woman planted in truth. I grow my branches from sacred roots. You are the form of who you want to be. So come untethered, your soul is free. We're here to heal, we're here to thrive. We are a dream who's come alive. We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An evolution for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. 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 For God's sake.
And so it is. Hello, Essence. Welcome back to Wild Soul Medicine Radio. It's great to be back with you. This is Jody England. And my heart is open today. My heart is open to receive you and to be with you. This week we're playing with something brand new. And we would love to hear from you. So we've had 4 shows now. This is our 5th. And we've tried something different each time. So I kind of categorize them into a few different categories. So we do kind of a Dharma talk, where I talk most of the time about a certain topic and what I'm learning or knowing about that. We've had some sessions where we've done some energy reading with people. We did that last time, if you didn't have a chance to listen to that. We've had a guest. And this week, as I tuned into the energy of what was wanting to occur, I was feeling this push from Source to actually just open, to open to whatever gift I may have in me that is for you. And as is the alchemistic way of magic, we have no idea what that will be. And so we're just going to play. We're going to play in this space of the calling lines being open the entire time. And I am open to being in service of whatever shows up today. So I'm going to give you the call-in number. So even if you have no idea what you're going to say or why you're calling in, if you're feeling a nudge to call in, then you should call in. Okay? So the call-in number is 937-552-2747. 937-552-2747. You can't really get less structured than that, right? Formless form. So you can ask me anything. You can ask me something about me, about my work, about my abilities, about this show, about Untamed You. I mean, anything you want to know, I will answer if you ask. And I'm also open to reading energy for you. If there's a thing that you'd like to heal, or an inquiry that you have, or a question that you feel, you don't even have to feel that it would serve everyone. If it would serve you to have it answered, then by all means, you should ask it. So we're just going to play. I don't know. We may take one caller the whole time. We may take 15. We'll just flow with the energy and see what occurs here. And so the lines are open. And Viv, if and when we have someone who's ready to join us, go ahead and let me know that. There is a few second delay between what Viv can hear and what I'm saying. So we'll allow for a little padding between that. But in the meantime, I'll just, I'll start sharing what's coming to me. And that is really this issue of trust, because trust is surrendering to the greater will, surrendering to what's wanting to happen and getting yourself out of the way. So there's every reason that my mind was saying, really, you're going to take calls the whole time? Because what if nobody calls in? Or, what if it doesn't go where you think it's going to go or where it should go? All of those things that a, quote, good radio show host should be thinking about. And, really it is about just showing up and allowing what wants to unfold. And I think in our businesses these days and in our lives as well, we really don't do that enough. We're so busy trying to orchestrate things and do them and handle them and put our will into them. And we don't allow silence and unfolding and walking with the divine. So today's show really, for me, and I have a feeling it may be for some of our callers as well, is allowing the divine to be in the driver's seat, to let the divine orchestrate the moves and to show up in service of what those moves are. So I think we do have a caller. So Viv, when you're ready, I am ready too. So we will unfold and see where we shall be playing together today. And I invite you, while we wait for the caller to be put through, to just listen from a space of oneness, right? So whatever the callers are asking, there's medicine in it for you. How we know that is because you're listening. And so whatever may come forward here, just imagine that it's your question being answered, even if you're not the one on the line. So, hello, is this Diana?
Yes, it is.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. We can actually hear the radio show in the background, so you may want to mute that so we lose the echo.
Okay.
I think
Who am I speaking with?
This is Jody. Hello.
Oh, Jody.
You're
okay.
through.
So you're not speaking live. I'm confused.
I am speaking live. There's just like a 10-second delay. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that way it's a little confusing. You're live with me in the space, my darling. So what is your question? What's on your heart today?
Well, I was guided to call in today for a healing.
Mm-hmm.
I've just had a breakup with my partner of 2.5 years. And it's up and down. It needed to happen, but it's still very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Beautiful. So are you present to what needs healed?
I think what needs healed is the regret, the letting go of the dream we shared together, and the upset at both of us for allowing ourselves to be in denial through the years because we wanted to be together so bad. Even though a part of us knew it wasn't really working, we kept trying and trying and trying. So you go deeper and deeper, deeper into the relationship, and then it just makes it that much harder to end it.
Got it. So was it ultimately a mutual breakup, or was one person more instigating it?
Well, it was initiated by him,
Mm-hmm.
and I was pretty upset about it. But then I had a major epiphany, which ironically is the fact that I was taming myself to please him.
Mm.
And that there was this majorly wild woman inside of me that needed to come out. And although in many ways I was working on myself and growing myself and evolving, I was still holding back because I didn't want to threaten his security, and he has, like us all, has a lot of baggage and a lot of insecurities, and I very much felt like my power threatened him. So I was dampening myself down. So when the epiphany hit me that, oh my goodness, like there's this thing inside of me that needs to come out, and I can't be with this person anymore because they can't accept that in me. Became my decision. And then he's kind of changing his mind, saying, well, we could work on it, but by that time it was too late. It's like, no, it's not. I'd made the decision at that point. So.
Got it. Beautiful. Actually, the more you spoke, the more I really felt you come to the truth. And so I was just reading the energy as you were talking, and the energy looks like what actually needs healed is not the heartbreak of the relationship ending, but it's really heartbreak around feeling like you need permission to be your full self, to be your full wildness. Like that's where the aching in your soul is happening. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we put that out, the traditional way of thinking of it is, oh, the relationship is ending, I have to be mourning that, or I should be doing something. But, really it's, I see you, it's almost like a false modesty, if that makes sense. Like you're actually way less wounded than you may think you are, and then you're pretending to be.
Don't tell me that. Because there's a part of me, I even asked my mother yesterday, is there something wrong with me? Because I feel like I can move on way too quickly from these dramas in my life, and that scares me that I'm not affected more deeply. So what you're saying is kind of freaking me out.
Yeah. What would be scary about being able to move on quickly?
Feeling like I have an issue with attaching to people.
Yeah. Okay, great. So here's the core energetic of your work in your soul path, which is loving yourself first and most, right? So in the past, you've tended to put other people first and what they wanted and what they thought and relationship at all costs. And you're actually healing that. I mean, this breakup is a step in that evolution of I am my own best relationship, right? And it's from that strength and that centered place that you can actually engage in healthy relationships where there is real intimacy rather than enmeshment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, it's okay. It is okay to put yourself first. So let's just do a quick little healing on that. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I'd like you to imagine that you could just close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to feel into that inner wise woman that you have had locked away in the closet. Right? See if you can see where you have her tucked away.
Yes.
Yeah. And you have a good relationship with her. You know where she lives. I get that. And then there's this fear of what if I let her out? Because she might just wreck things. She might just be so self-centered, right? Yeah. So just take a look at her through the, crack in the door or through the window and just look and see, does she look trustworthy? And you don't have to say yes. We're just going to see what's there.
She looks very powerful, and it's not that I don't trust her, it's that I don't trust what will happen around me when she comes forth.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. So imagine that in that space, you could just communicate that to her. Like, I see you, I like you, I want to let you out, but here's why I don't trust you. And see if she has any wisdom for you. So you can speak that out loud, or you can just imagine saying it into the energy space.
Okay.
And what does she have for you?
She's telling me that ultimately it will all be healing. And that this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like one of the things that may actually make it easier to let her out is, what if you asked her, could the healing come with grace and ease so that healing doesn't have to be painful?
Yeah.
What does she have to say to that?
She's saying she doesn't think that's possible, but she'll try to be gentle.
Great. Okay, so let's check on this. So typically, pain, I'm going to say always, pain comes from a belief in a story, a belief in suffering, right? So just like you're experiencing here, most people, when they end a relationship, they do so with story because that's how they've seen it done. So, oh, relationship ended, I have to be in mourning for this period of time, right? So pain isn't actually caused by her. It's not actually caused by who you're in relationship or the circumstances in your life. Pain is caused by you putting a story over circumstances that causes you suffering, right?
Right.
So you could actually make an agreement with her that your story is that your commitment is to your own evolution and that she helps support you in that, right? So that way, if something happens you weren't expecting or something happens that is surprising or seems out of alignment, you can check it against, is this in the highest and best good of my evolution? If so, I'm in alignment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So see if
does.
she'd be willing to support you in that.
Yeah. I don't even have to ask her. I
Right.
know that's why she's here.
Yeah. She's trustable in that way, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel like you could open the door and let her come out?
I do. I mean, that's ultimately why I'm leaving the relationship, so that can happen. So it just, trying to get past the fear.
Yeah. Yeah. So take your time. And one thing you might try is, what if you could just open the door and ask her to stay in the room, right? So you're teaching yourself to trust your inner wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can trust where it's going to go. In the past, you've used other people's wisdom in place of her, right? That's what the
Right.
enmeshed relationships have done for you. So this is really about you learning to retrust yourself. So just imagine, like, if you could open the door and just kind of see her and see, like, will she stay there? Can you trust that about her?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep. And then, you could ask her to maybe just come to the doorway, and could you hold hands with her? See what that feels like.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just let yourself feel the full extent of that. And the answer is yes. Yes, you have permission. Yes, you deserve this. And you could even play with... Yeah, go ahead.
She's alleviating the fear and the pain.
Beautiful. It looked to me like you were starting to dance with her, which was beautiful. Yeah, and you know what else? As she's alleviating the pain, one thing she knows that you had forgotten is that as an infinite soul, you can't actually be wounded. Right? You can't be wounded by the end of a relationship. You can't be wounded by what you think is a failure. Right? There is nothing that can actually diminish you.
Yeah.
She knows that. Yeah, feel how she straightens your spine just being out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And I feel like this will be a continued evolving between the two of you. So it'll continue to unfold and integrate as you learn to talk to her and listen to her and receive wisdom from her. So in this moment, just see, is there a way that you can, well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about integrating her? So she's no longer just right outside that closet door, but like, could you bring her fully into you?
I think I could just maybe slowly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I could do it all at once. It might be overwhelming.
Yeah, so maybe we'll give her just a bigger space. So instead of the closet, could you make her a bigger space in your midsection? I feel like she lives in your solar plexus. Is that where you sense her? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Totally. So imagine instead of just being in that itty-bitty solar plexus, what if she could reach your heart space? So she could include the solar plexus all the way up to the top of your heart space. Would you be willing to give her that much room?
It's the heart space that concerns me.
Got it. Oh, you tricky girl. I love it. Thanks for being honest, by the way. Great. So could she go lower? Could she have the space from the solar plexus down? Like down to the yoni or down through the second chakra? No. Okay.
I think the heart feels safer.
Okay, great. And actually, we don't have to give her any more space. So you may, for today, it may just be like, can you leave the door open so that you can actually access her? Maybe that's enough for today.
Right. Yeah, I think I can do that much.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it makes sense. Because you're actually still in the tenderness of this story around the breakup. So the heart's already a little, protected and tender. And so let's do that. Let's let her know that, your commitment, whatever's in alignment for you, but like the commitment is that she's there. You're committed to understanding her and developing a relationship with her.
Yes.
Yeah. And that you appreciate her patience with you while you do that.
She understands.
Isn't it beautiful, the grace she brings, right? She's not even upset. She's like, okay. I'm here when you're ready.
Don't wait too long.
Well, that's also her job, to keep us moving.
There's work to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. And you're doing it beautifully. It takes courage to show up and look at this stuff. It takes courage to leave a relationship in order to be who you are. hardly anybody in the population does that, you know? So you can give yourself a break, extend some grace. You're doing it. You are untaming. This is it. This is what it looks like. Beautiful. All right, let's finish with one big deep breath in. Good. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Jody.
Mm-hmm. Good to be with you today. Thanks for sharing your medicine with us.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
All right, great. So I think we have another caller. I'm just going to clear some energy in the space here. All right. Sorry. I guess my voice may be getting a little softer or louder. I move a little bit when I coach, so I try to stay close to the microphone as I look at the energy. All right. So we are receiving our next caller. Hi. Is this Angela?
Yes, it is. Hi, Jody. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, love?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for this series of calls. This is, just really kind of just what I needed. And part of why I'm calling today is I have a busy life, like most people, do a lot of things, came off of a particularly exhausting summer last year, but I have just been feeling sapped and drained since November. And I've gone to the doctor, and they can't seem to find anything wrong with me, which is good. I don't want to have any horrible diseases. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not getting things done because I'm just so exhausted. I used to meditate in the morning. Now I sleep in. I used to blog in the evenings. Now I end up falling asleep. And my husband will come in and be like, why don't you put your pajamas on and go to bed? I just really feel like there's this heavy, heavy energy kind of holding me back in my life instead of being able to keep moving forward with all of the good things that are happening for me.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So is your question, do I have insight about what the exhaustion is about?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as I look into the energy, it looks to me like it's adrenal exhaustion. Are you familiar with what that is?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you heard that from anyone yet?
I've read about it. I've not had anyone diagnose me with that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really common occurrence with women today. And I mean, the medical definition is that, it's when your body gets overstressed, your adrenals get overtaxed, and then they create cortisol in your system, which causes, weight gain and moodiness and sleepiness. And right, because your adrenals are the thing that when you go into fight or flight, right, they release adrenaline. The problem, first of all, why this is such a common occurrence with women is because we're all living such a masculine life with our doing, our striving, our, creating, which you've actually used that language several times. Like, I want to get back to doing the things. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking from my own experience, right? I have a total match to that. And actually, adrenaline becomes like a drug in our system. So it doesn't really belong there, but it becomes almost like your morning coffee. Like, you can't operate without the adrenaline rushing through your system. So you keep creating stressful circumstances and long to-do lists so you can keep getting your shot of adrenaline, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is our feminine bodies are meant to run on oxytocin, which is completely the opposite of adrenaline. Oxytocin is the chemical that washes through your body when you nurse your baby, when you have an orgasm, after a good meal, right? Anytime you're making that sound, oxytocin is happening in your body. So what I get is the fatigue is actually an invitation for you to deepen into your feminine, right? So first of all, before I take that further, how does that sit with you, or how does that resonate?
It does. It does. Actually, I had been working with a coach over the fall, and that is one of the things that we worked on. And it's kind of interesting that you say that, because I would say I started feeling extremely tired just as we were about ending our session. So maybe as I'm going deeper into that, I'm starting to feel more of the effects of not being that way.
Yeah, well, it catches up with you, right? So after many years of doing it, those were all questions I had. Those are the doer's questions, like adrenal fatigue. Why now? I've, run on adrenaline for the last 30 years and it's been fine. So it totally catches up with you. And as you begin to explore, essentially putting in a new operating system for yourself, it takes some reworking, right? It's almost like, just like in that time when you're going to upload a new software onto your computer, it takes the rebooting time, right? And then everything has to shut down and come back up. So here's a couple things I get for you. If I don't know what feminine work you were doing, but what it looks like in the energy is there's a way that you were doing it from a mental space, right? Like these are, I could get massages and I could, do meditating, right? So it still was like a doing energy rather than a nurturing energy. So there's a way that you could move it deeper into your body. So it's not just an idea or a cognitive list of things, but actually a feeling. And I have a healing. Are you up for that right now?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to play with waking up your womb space. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Does that scare you?
Okay.
So the womb space is actually the place where we women are meant to operate from. This is our creative space. And by creative, I don't mean just birthing babies or painting pictures, but creative as in that is what feminine energy is. The feminine operates in the center we birth ideas, we birth movements, we allow ideas to come forward, right? And then the masculine part of ourselves is the doing on the outside, saying, okay, so in order to have that idea come to fruition, this can happen, that can't happen, this needs to get in this space, that needs to get out of this space. But most women operate from throat up, right? So we're completely in our heads. Most of us are disconnected even from our heart and especially from our womb space. And I know when I started doing this work, I couldn't get any feeling in my womb. Like it was like lights out down there. Okay. So we're just going to see if we can rekindle a fire here for you to give you a touch point to go to as you're reworking this masculine feminine marriage in yourself.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I want you to close your eyes and feel like I can actually reach out. I might be able to just activate it for you. So what I want you to do is to imagine that you can just scan through your body so you can just feel, right? You can feel what's happening there. Yep. You might even feel a little fear happening, like what is she going to be touching and what's that going to feel like, right? All right, so just notice that. And then I'm actually just going to give you a little energetic ping right in the center of your womb space. So it's like a couple inches below your belly button. And I want you to just see, it'll feel like a little tickle. All right, so just see if you can feel any energy happening there. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Very cool.
Yeah, good. All right, so what I'd like to do is now that you know where we're heading, imagine that you can step into an elevator at the center of your head. And you can push the button in the elevator. And we're just going to ride it down through your body. I'm going to ride it all the way down to the center of that space, right where you were feeling that tickle. And as the elevator door opens, imagine that you can step outside the elevator and turn on a light switch. And what I want you to look at is, first of all, what does the space look like or feel like to you as you step into it? What qualities are present, or what do you see?
Just sort of kind of sense like a floor, but it's sort of, and maybe a ceiling, but just sort of a very big open space with no walls. In the color orange.
Great. Yeah, orange is the color of that chakra typically, so that's cool. And is there an energy of the space? Like, does it feel empty or happy or sad or deserted?
It feels kind of empty, but not deserted, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the feeling it's kind of like a warehouse, like it's super big, but there's not much in it, right?
Yeah, I'm getting parking garage, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah, perfect. And by the way, this second chakra is the area where receiving happens, right? So if there's an emptiness here, you probably have emptiness other places where you could receive money or clients or, love or all kinds of things. It's also the place of relationships. So let's see if we could, let's see if we want to fill this. Do we want to light a fire? Let me just check for a second. Yeah, we're going to light a fire. Okay, so I'd like you to imagine that in the center of this space, you could build some kind of a ceremonial altar or fire pit. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring some heat and some life back into this space, but first we're going to create a space to contain it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me know when you've got that built.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right, and then I'd like to have you imagine that you just so happen to have in your pocket a magic orange jewel, right? And that as you pull it out of your pocket and put it into the fire pit, it warms up and warms up until it bursts into the most beautiful, warm fire. And then you can play with the volume of the fire, right? So if it feels too low, you can imagine turning up the flames. If it feels too much and you're afraid it's going to burn you, you can turn it down some. So just play with it until it feels like it's just the right amount of heat for you in there. Good. How does that feel?
Good.
Awesome. All right, one last step. What I'd like you to imagine now is that there's a window in the front of the space, right? So right on the outside of your belly. And there's also a window out the back of the space, so right along your spine. And both of those windows are currently closed. They look like they're almost sooted over right now. And a healthy chakra actually has a light in the center, and then it also glows out the front and the back. These are your portals of communication with the universe, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see, would you be willing to open that window in the front? And you can play with it. You might not be able to fling it all the way open, but you might. I feel like you're sort of ready for it. So maybe you can just play with opening that window in the front.
Okay.
Good, yeah. And then you've got that flashlight beam of orange light shining right out the front. Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good. Good, so just feel that for a minute. Mm-hmm. This, by the way, for those of you into manifesting, this is your I am open to receive sign to the universe, right? For whatever you've been manifesting. It's like, hello, I am open. Right, so go ahead and do the same thing with the back. Open the window in the back and let the light shine out the back.
Seems darker on this side.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is the side where we register support in our receiving. So one of the one of the cycles of us doers is we feel like we have to do it all because nobody else will do it, right? Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So what if what if there's support all around you of people who are wanting to give to you and to love you and to be there for you so that you can be in your feminine, but you're unable to feel them because you've got it shut down back there. Yeah, so just see, maybe you just rub the soot off the window just to peek out and see, really, who's back there? And then maybe you could just try to open it and peek out. If you don't like what you see, you can totally close it again.
Getting an image kind of like an alley.
Yeah, which is a little scary, right? Like being alone in an alley. That's what it feels like. Like who's going to protect you? So what if you could shift that image? What if, because this is magic world, right? Energy, you can create anything you want. So what if you got rid of the alley and put something inviting? What if it was a beautiful open field back there? Or a warm living room? Or whatever would feel good for your system? Every woman listening, by the way, is receiving medicine from this. We all can open this energetic portal on our back, so in service of us being in our feminine. Our men can never show up for us if we don't allow it. What are you noticing as you shift the alley?
There's a really beautiful window box on the window with flowers growing in it and maybe a park beyond. I'm seeing like benches, places to sit.
Beautiful. So could you imagine that the orange light you would be unleashing through this window is almost like the sun that would feed those flowers and would light the pathway to the park? See if you can feel that. There you go. Good. Good. How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, I actually feel like a glowing in the small of my back.
Yeah.
A very warm feeling.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Okay. So let's go ahead and let that area shine and make your way back to the orange elevator door. And we're just going to return with the elevator back up to the center of your head. Slip into the driver's seat behind your eyes. And let's just finish with a big oxytocin breath together. All right, so it's a big deep breath in. And on the exhale, you're making that pleasuring sound. There you go. Good work. Good work, my darling. How do you feel?
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you feel?
I do feel more centered and a little more charged in a way.
Yeah, good. Turned on, maybe even. I mean, there's different levels of turn on, but yeah, you are actually turned on in the place that's truly you, which is your femininity. So my suggestion is to seek out some, energetic support for reclaiming your femininity. We do that work also, but what I feel for you is there's some embodiment practices. So if you're not in a position to want to invest in something, you can do this on your own, like dancing, moving your hips, luxuriating, in the bathtub. So not just doing it as a crossing it off the list, but like sensually feeling your body as you're in the bathtub. Eating a piece of chocolate with as much pleasure, like smelling it, tasting it. Those are all ways to, one, release oxytocin in your body, and two, to recalibrate your system to the things that females are made for: pleasure, sensuality, creation. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So play with that. And also, you can listen to this recording again and come back and do this exact exercise again. Like, you can just check in each day, like, how's the fire? Does it need turned up or turned down? Are the windows still open or closed? I mean, you could just make that your daily practice and see a giant shift in the calming of your adrenals. Yeah.
That would be great.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, darling. Thanks for your medicine today.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, this is fun. Oh my gosh, I'm having a blast. I hope you're having a blast listening. So I think we have another caller. So we'll let Viv put this next woman through, and we'll see what medicine Cheryl has for us. Hello, Cheryl. This is Jody.
Hi, this is Cheryl.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here, but I'm like a little nervous for some reason.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's scary to be seen.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of, I was going through a lot of changes in my life, and one of the things that I keep hearing as far as being guided is that, it's okay for your life to be simpler and more loving and easy and relaxing and fun and, not less stressful. And yet I keep having this fear well, that's just too easy and simple. I can't step out and actually live my life that way because that's not the way people live.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I loved hearing what you were talking about with the adrenals and the oxytocin, because I actually started, a local support group for myself, and I call it Divine by Design. And my intention is for me to, and for, this group of women that I've asked for support with and to be support for, was to step into that divine feminine,
mm-hmm.
and be okay with that. So it's interesting because there's one person kind of in the group that is like, oh, there should be men in the group, And then there's another woman that's more well, but we need to be, standing in our feminine completely before we can invite men in to teach them how. So it's finding that balance. I mean, it's all about balance. And so for me, it's trying to figure out, how can I step forward in balance without feeling how I don't want to feel? I want things to be easy, simple.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And yet it's okay that it's a little scary, and it's okay that I don't know the outcome. And yet that's scary to even move forward in that way because it's sort of foreign to the way, I've been living.
Mm-hmm. I got it. I see you. Yeah, I see you. I am you. I love you. That's what we say around here. Yeah, you definitely have medicine for our tribe. So, are you ready for some reflection?
I am.
Okay. So I get for you that there's actually a lot of stuck energy in your shoulder areas. It's almost like you're carrying a yoke across the top of your shoulders, but it's also even through your muscles, all along the back of your whole trapezius section and on the top of your shoulders. Do you have trouble with that area in your body?
Oh yeah, I've been doing some emotional work with a friend of mine that does the body code. But one of the things that I have talked about a lot is, and this has gotten way better as I've stepped into my life in a better way that feels better. I mean, it's gotten way better, but it's still there somewhat, especially when I'm not, stepping in my life in this loving, simple way. But yeah, feel like I have this poker stabbing me in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Blade. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to work at this from the level of energy.
Okay.
Rather than the level of the mind, right? So we all we can let it be easy, and law of attraction, right? And then there's the mind only takes you so far, but
right.
The subconscious is really running the show, and that's what's programmed here in your shoulder muscles. So
Right.
I actually get, I can see there's a timeline of events that have been building on this. So there's a whole lineage piece. It looks like you come from a lineage of people who believe in struggle and work, right?
Yes.
As the measure of your worth. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Totally. And you get to be the healer of that lineage. Isn't that cool?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
This is what I know, and yet it's like, oh, okay, but I'm not sure, how to do this. But
right,
but yet I'm doing it.
Totally, yeah. And even the masculine feminine thing, none of us actually know how to do that because it hasn't really been done yet. So we're all just sort of experimenting and finding our way. Like, oh, this seems to work, and that seems to work. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And we're just going to take this slow because there's a lot of reasons that you have this poker, in this space. To me, the poker is only like one piece of it. It's big. It's across your whole. So I want you to imagine that if you could feel, it looks like it actually bends you over because it's so heavy. And there's a lot of stuff in there. There's like a martyr complex, like, nobody will do it. I'll take it on me. I see that. And then there's also sometimes it feels like it's confusing to you because you're like, how did I get in this position when I consciously didn't want it, but here I am bent over with the weight of everybody's stuff again,
Yep.
Yeah. So
part of it, what I've seen is, like I've been in a marriage for 36 years that I've decided to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I should say I've been deciding to leave for probably about 12, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, what I recognized in the complexity of that relationship is because I was taking on that martyr complex, I was actually resenting that he wasn't like more half of the relationship, and yet I was resisting even inviting him in to carry half of the responsibility,
Yeah.
So,
we're tricky like that. We set it up that way so that we can, because there's a survival mechanism. So in the lineage, the way to be part of the tribe is to be carrying all the weight. So you set it up to have a husband who wouldn't come all the way in because you needed the payoff of him not coming in so you could carry his stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So are you still in relationship with him or are you separated?
We're separated.
Okay. Yeah, it looked like he was behind you now a little bit. Okay, so I want you to tune in to this yoke. To me, it looks like a big wooden beam that's literally like laying across. Oh, yeah, it's like a cross too. It's sort of like there's the Jesus suffering, for everyone else's sins, like weight to it.
Yep.
All right, so imagine you can tune in to that big wooden cross that is across your shoulders. And see, is it actually attached to you in some way, or could you just slide out from under it? So see if you could just examine it and imagine, how is it attached, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, it feels attached, but yet it seems like I could get out from under it.
Yeah, to me, it looks like it goes under your armpits, almost like it's like there's a belt or something that's attaching it to you. So maybe imagine that you could undo those belts so that it would be easier to just slip out from under it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me is like, oh, but it's going to be so weird.
I know.
Because it's been there so long.
Yeah.
I mean, generations.
Totally. And thank you for being honest about that. So yes, it will feel totally weird. And then there's the fear, which is what keeps it there, which is I won't be part of my tribe anymore, right? I might be all alone if I do that. So here's a suggestion. What if we try just laying it on the ground beside you? You can feel what it's like, and then if you hate it or it's too scary, you can just strap it back on. Does that make sense?
Okay. But I don't want to do that. I just want to be rid of it.
Well, sometimes we just need this. Our subconscious needs it, so we'll honor that. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a resistance to even take it off. It's weird.
I know.
Because it's sort of like, yeah, I mean, it's just like it's been there so long. It would be like, okay, I'm going to cut off my arm.
I
you
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So maybe you want to start with even just, could you lift it off your shoulders? Or we could invite in a couple angels who would do that. So it's just maybe an inch off your shoulders, just so there's a little tiny space between you and it. Would you be willing to try that?
Definitely. Yeah, I would like, the help of
Great.
the angels. That would be wonderful.
All right. So let's invite in a couple helpers. And they aren't going to do anything you don't want them to do. So they're waiting for your cue. So when you're ready, you can ask them to just lift it an inch or two off your shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep having this resistance to it. It's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it looked to me like they lifted it and then you straightened up to feel it, right? So
Yeah.
that may need to happen, right? Because you're very bent over with the weight. So maybe they now need to lift it a few more inches and you can stand up a little straighter. Just, you know what? Even this process of like trying to power through this is the symptom of the thing. Do you get that? It's like the snake eating its tail. Like, oh, this is heavy to carry these people's stuff, but I'm going to, power through it. Just like another way of proving your strength. So
Right, yeah. What I hear myself saying a lot is like, just suck it up, Cheryl, and handle it.
Yeah. So in this space, you get to be vulnerable, Cheryl, who doesn't have to do anything. Like she can be afraid and she can take her time. And she doesn't even have to move this thing at all if she doesn't want to, right? So we're going to honor that. There you go. You might feel some emotions as you soften to yourself a little bit, and that's fine too. And you can actually even allow those angels to give you a little comfort, a little validation of how hard you've been working. Yeah, you can carry a lot. Good. And validate that for yourself. You know how strong you are. Strong is good. Strong is safe, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I see it as, like, I had heard a comment the other day, and it didn't really resonate with me. I mean, it resonated with me, but I didn't really get it until just now, like the difference of strength between strength and courage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wonder, our minds get confused when we have these barriers where we think, oh, if I take that off, then I'll have to be weak, right? And weak is like the antithesis of what you're oriented around. But in actuality, you're still going to be the same super strong heroine that you are. It's really just going to be, what if you didn't have to use your strength to carry meaningless crap that doesn't belong to you? What if,
Right.
Then what could you do with your strength? So feel into that. See if that gives you an invitation to want to allow this to be lifted a little more.
Well, here's what's coming to mind is when I've had these thoughts of wanting my life to be easier and simpler and more loving and compassionate, is like I don't know, I lost my train of thought here, but yeah, it feels like I couldn't be playful. I guess that's what I'm saying. What I'm thinking is, so because I was carrying this weight, it's hard to be playful.
Totally. Yeah.
When you're exhausted from carrying this weight.
Totally. It's another version of the caller who was, talking about who would I be? It's like, who would I be without this story, right? So there's a reason we have it there, because the weight keeps you from being wild, right? It's your taming that weight. Because at some point in this life, you were playing and something was bad, right? You were made wrong for it or something bad happened. And so it's like, playing, not good, dangerous. Don't do that again, right?
Right.
So this is like your safety net. So I wonder, so we can do a couple things here. You could imagine, what if you could trade that out for something just a little less heavy, right? So you don't even have to get rid of it all the way. Maybe you just replace it with something that's like hollow wood, or that's maybe just a smaller version of the same thing. Would you be willing to try that?
Yeah, actually, I'd like it to just be more like something really light.
Great.
But I don't know if I'm still resistant to it. Like I want it to be this light little scarf that I can just toss off.
Yeah, we're going to get there. But first you have to get your system to agree to something, right? Mm-hmm. So this is that force that happens in your life, right? Like I want it to be easy, so I'm going to force it into easy, which never gets to easy, right? So you take these little baby steps of that bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be.
Right.
So the first baby step is, could you just lighten your load a little bit? And the angels
that makes me laugh because I was doing this class a couple of years ago called Lighten the Load Lunch Break, and we'd have a light lunch and then I'd do laughter yoga.
Yeah, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So your angels have multiple options there of whatever weight you would like to experiment with. So let them know which one you'd like to try first. And remember, you don't have to stretch yourself. Just choose the one that feels easiest. Easiest to try, right?
I'm thinking almost like petrified wood or dead wood or something real light.
I was thinking that too. Okay, great. So go ahead and imagine they can swap out the one you have with this newer version that isn't so dense. Good. And notice, can you do anything differently with that on? What does it feel like to move with it? Does it feel safe enough?
Well, it feels like I have to hold it up still, like I have to wrap my arms around it or something.
I see that too. Yeah. So do you want to try a smaller version? You don't have to say yes.
Well, then I'd have to try to balance it, and I don't want to do that. I'd just rather not have it.
Yeah. So are you willing to try not having it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So allow the angels to lift it from you and know that they are on call. So if you want them to put it back on at any moment, they will put it back on. All right? And it's okay to be afraid as it comes off. You can even cue your body to safety. Go ahead and just rub your thighs a little bit. It's okay. You don't have to have the weight. It's okay. Big, deep breath. Feel those sensations happening in your body. So it's just energy. It feels like it might kill you, right? Or it might shake the wheels off, but actually it's just a sensation. So allow yourself to be with it. There you go. Good. And then you can start to notice how you actually feel. What's present now?
I feel more in my whole body, all the way down to my feet.
Yeah. Beautiful. How do you feel in the shoulder area? Do you feel like you can straighten up your spine?
Yeah, it feels a little weird in my neck, and almost like, okay, it's been rounded over for so long. So
I want you to stretch.
It'll take a little while to
get the kinks out, right? So go ahead and stretch. Actually, stretch your arms up to the sky. Rotate your head and your neck. This is real stuff, energy, right? Like we're imagining this, but it's actually stuck in your neck. So you do need to move the neck to let it out. right? You can like shrug your shoulders, stretch your scapula. Good. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to hold tight for a second. I'm going to address a couple things. So I know we have a few more callers on the line, which we are not going to have time to get to today. But we'd love to hear from you in the tribe about if this is useful. So let us know, and we can always do this again next week so that we can get to everyone. I loved it, so I'm happy to continue doing it if y'all want to show up and receive it. Okay, great. So, but we're going to finish this before we end today. So what I'd like to have you do now is imagine that first of all, so the angels are waiting for permission. Do you want to hold on to this weight, or how would you feel about them getting rid of it for you?
They can just get rid of it.
You sure? Okay. All right, great. So they're going to go ahead and do that. Just moving that out of your space. Great. And then I want you to imagine that they can come up and they're going to give you an energetic massage in this whole space. So just imagine golden, sparkly energy coming into your shoulders, your muscles, all of those places that have been on lockdown. Just imagine almost like getting a massage from the inside out. See if you can just surrender into that. And as that's occurring, you may feel some stuff happen in the rest of your body. Like I felt a little dreadfulness or nausea sort of pass through your stomach. And other things like that may happen. And that's just your body reacclimating and energy moving through. So that's okay. Let that massage continue. Feel those muscles letting go, letting go. Good. All the way up your neck. Good. And even up into your brainstem. Like they're kind of tickling up there. There's some old patterning there. Yeah, good. All right, and I can, just to let you know, I mean, in the interest of time, we need to wrap up here, but I see some lineage work that could still be completed. Like they're not on your back anymore, but they're sort of standing out there, and it feels like there could be a clearing conversation with them around like, is it okay for you to let go of this, and are they cool with that, and, just kind of sending everyone off with the namaste. So you might play with that after we get off of the call.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, beautiful. But for now, how does that feel in your body?
I feel okay. Actually, though, it's like something moved down to my lower, like above my right hip.
Mm-hmm. Like a heaviness?
Just like a little pinch or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and just, so hips are about moving forward. Right? So it's like, if I don't move forward, like pulling the ox cart, how might I do that? Right?
Right.
So you can, I feel like just opening up your hip, almost like stretching it and letting that energy just pass through. Right? It's like the heaviness is looking for another place to lodge, but you can just let it move out. And so here's the thing to tell your system. There's going to be an infinite number of things that you can pile right back on top of your shoulders. So, if at any time you're not comfortable with the freedom, you can just put the stuff back on. For you, it's like more of expanding into, can you allow freedom? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Good work. That was epic bunch of moving stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what I think the little nudge of fear is when I am encountering the people whose stuff I think I need to carry, and they want to put it back on, I will want to take it back on for them.
Absolutely, right? And that is the ongoing integration work. So just to call myself out here, I'm feeling conflicted about, offering like paid support, right? Because that's not why I'm doing this. But also, I just want you to know that we do support that, right? So if you want to continue unpacking, why would you take somebody else's stuff on, and how else can we energetically set you up to not do that? There is that help available. In the meantime, you can also just know that just like we did here, there's choicefulness. So you might in the moment say yes to taking it on, and then later be like, oh my gosh, I can't even walk again because I'm carrying all the stuff. And then you can decide to offload it. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's not a game of perfect. It's not like if you do it, then you have failed. Or if you don't do it, then you're good. It's like learning this new dance of navigating life standing straight up without people's stuff on your back. Right? But you just created this beautiful, energetic set point now for yourself that you haven't experienced up until now. So, you've like opened a door to the possibility of not doing that. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cheryl. It was beautiful to witness your medicine for us today.
Thank you. I appreciated the opportunity to talk with you and do this work.
Mm-hmm. My pleasure. Thanks, love. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that brings us to the top of a beautiful, wonderful, heart-expanding episode. I hope that you enjoyed it and took advantage of the healings available for yourself as well. I will look forward to hearing your feedback in the tribe or via email, just letting us know if you found this useful, if you'd like to hear more of this, or any of the shows. What is tripping your trigger? What is resonating, and what you would like to feel more of and hear more of from us. So if you want to join us in the tribe, it's Wild Soul Medicine Radio Tribe over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Wild Soul Medicine Radio Tribe. And we look forward to being with you again next week. Same time, same place. I love you. I love us. Thank you, all of you courageous women who showed up to be with us today. Bye, everyone.
We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination, for God's sake. A revelation, for God's sake. An inspiration, for God's sake. Illumination, for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.